Hey folks, welcome back. So in this lesson, we're going to talk about CloudFormation cross-stack references. So in the DevOps doctrine, let's click on cross-stack references. And cross-stack references allow us to access resources in other stacks. Now, why would you do that? Well, let's just remember the mantra, infrastructure as code. Well, going back to software practices, it's good practice to modularize your code, not just dump all of your code into one big file. Modularize it, make it easier to maintain and easier for different groups in your organization to work on their specific section of code. And templates, after all, are code. So it makes sense to modularize our templates into a layered or service-oriented architecture. So let's think about an IT company with multiple groups within the company. Let's say a network group, an applications group, database group, security group. Well, rather than have these groups bumping into each other, modifying one template, introducing errors to that template, why not give each group their own template? Let's modularize this. Now that's great, but instances are going to arise where information needs to be shared between these templates, and that's where cross-stack references come into play. Cross-stack references can be used to export resources from one CloudFormation stack to another. So I'll use the example, if your application team needs a VPC ID, well, that VPC ID is most likely going to be in the network stack. So the network stack can output the VPC, and the application stack can import this VPC ID and use it. Let's look at the diagram, and this instance lends itself to actually looking at the code. Here's some YAML code. So our network stack is outputting a VPC ID. The key thing here is the export. So that is being exported. So this VPC ID can be used by other stacks. And how do they do that? Well, they reference this VPC ID using this function import value. Function import value prod VPC. Where did that come from? Well, that was exported in the output section of the stack, and that's an important point, from the network stack for use by other stacks. Now, it's just that simple. But to further ingrain this concept, let's go ahead and walk through this. A couple key points and restrictions for cross-stack references. First, and this makes sense if you think about it, export names must be unique within a region. Your consumer of this exported parameter or resource has to trust what they are getting. So you can't have a name used multiple times. You cannot use cross-stack references across regions. So this function import value only works within a region. And then a couple other key points. You cannot delete a stack if another stack references one of its outputs. Our application stack is referencing this VPC. Well, you just can't go and delete this stack because application stack relies on it. You would have to delete the application stack first, or you would have to remove this dependency first before you could delete this stack. Similarly, you can't modify this output if it's referenced by another stack. You can't change the name of this if the application stack is using it. So those are the key restrictions. Now let's go ahead into CloudFormation and just work through this. So I'm going to go ahead and create a stack, and I'm going to specify an Amazon template that's going to meet our needs. And you can see it's a sample network cross-stack template. So it's perfect for what we're trying to do. So I'll click Next. Stack name, I'll just call it cross-stack demo. And Next. Next through options. And create. And this won't take long. So our stack is built. It's pretty much a standard VPC type template. Here's some of the resources created. Now the point of this template is what we are outputting and specifically exporting for use by other stacks. So let's focus on that. Let's go to Outputs. And there we go. We are outputting our VPC ID. But just to be thorough about this, let's go to the template. And here's how it's done, and note how it matches up pretty much with our diagram. The diagram is in YAML, and this template is in JSON. Key points: we need to output this VPC ID. We need to use the export. So we're exporting this VPC ID for use by other templates. So I'll just go back to Events, and then we can create our application stack. So I'll do a create stack, and again, AWS has a handy template for this example. Click Next. I'll just call it App Stack. All right, now it's taking a parameter, and the parameter is our network stack, and it's pre-filled. I'm just going to plug in the actual name of the stack. So it just needs to reference that network stack. And by doing this, we're linking these stacks. And then we can import this VPC ID that the network stack exported. So I'll click Next. Next through Options, and then Create. So we'll just keep an eye on this creation progress. Now, while this is building, let's just go ahead and take a look at the template. Again, our parameter, the name of our network stack, and again, there was a default, but I just plugged in the actual name, some AMI mappings. It's creating a web server instance. Again, looking at our template, here are our import values. We're importing the security group ID and a subnet ID. Essentially, our network stack is telling our application stack where to launch this EC2 instance. So let's just go over to EC2 real quick. We have one running instance. And again, our application stack launched this instance. But using the cross-stack reference, our network stack is communicating to our app stack where to launch this instance. So it seems like a complex concept, but it's not terribly complex. Just to recap, we need to export the value that we want to share in the outputs section of our stack, and our recipient stack just needs to then reference that value using this function import value. And it is that simple. That is how CloudFormation cross-stack references work. So thank you for joining me in this lesson. Let's move on to the next.